And we're live.
Great, thank you. Let's call this meeting to order. It is 1:35. We will start with agenda item 1.1, the roll call.
All right, thank you, sir. Hackney.
Present.
Allline.
Here.
Clark. Kruger.
Here.
Richter Perkins. Rosecrans. And Mayor Stevens.
Here.
There's Miss Clark.
Great.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Excellent. We can move on to item 1.2, the approval of the agenda. Does anything need to be changed today as far as staff knows?
No.
Okay. Seeing no changes, I will make a motion to approve the agenda as presented and ask for a second.
Second.
Okay, it's been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, approved. We can move on to 1.3, the approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any changes from that meeting? I'm hearing none. I will make a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
I'm sorry. You do. We don't approve minutes from the last meeting.
Oh, well, okay then.
Yeah. That's our bad on our end.
All right. Well, then we can move on to 1.4, the adoption of the time limit for public comment under communications for audience. The two-minute speaking time limit. I will make a motion to approve that and ask for support.
Second.
Support. All right. We have supported from Mayor Stevens. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Item 2, is there any communication from the audience today?
There is no one on the line.
Okay. Let's move on to item 3 then, the business relief programs.
Yeah. Hey everybody. So I just want to provide a little update where we're at with some things, and then it kind of get a feel for where you guys are at as far as level of support for a request we're about to make the DDA board. First, I'll start off. I want to discuss Dmb budget. If you recall, in July, budget was approved for various activities like temporary art installations, downtown events, and marketing the Stay Safe to Stay Open campaign. Since then, there's the Dmb decided to put things on hold for just a short period of time and kind of regroup and see how they could really best spend those monies. And that being said, the last time we spoke about the budget, there were at the DDA, there was conversation around, we didn't want to have to come back each time a few dollars shift from one bucket, one line item to another. So I just wanted to give you guys a heads up on the Dmb Budget Amendment and see, do we need to request official approval from the DDA board? And so basically, from the last time the DDA approved the Dmb budget, there were line items for downtown events and $8,000 dedicated to temporary art installation. Well, since then, we've expended some of those funds. Were just under $15,000. You remember you rewarded us $20,000. And so now we've spent $4,000 on temporary art installations, but we're asking to take the remaining $4,000 and the money that was dedicated to downtown events and kind of consolidate it for professional services from a marketing firm. And so that would, the DMB recently approved that for $10,000. And that marketing firm, the PR outreach, will market downtown businesses and how they're operating. There'll be a social media campaign, how the businesses are keeping their customers safe. And then also the DMB approved the remaining $3,000 for the Stay Safe to Stay Open campaign. And so with that, do you guys have any questions surrounding this budget amendment from the DMB?
Yeah, Luke Hackney, I guess I'll just ask, can you tell us a little bit more about the marketing firm? Like, I mean, have ideas already been put in play? I mean, I'm just curious what the plan is.
Great question. So we're currently talking to 3 different firms, just trying to get an understanding of what kind of services they can provide to meet our needs and get those quotes. And so the scope of work would be a social media campaign aimed at, attracting residents and customers to downtown businesses. And doing that by promoting the safe behaviors recommended by public health officials. And with that social media campaign, it's the idea, the concept is to highlight businesses that are, really enforcing those safe behaviors, and then having actual customers submit photos through social media platforms to be posted when they're out and about downtown. Another idea, the concept is, since there won't be a Halloween event downtown, we're thinking of integrating a Halloween event into the social media campaign as well. But again, we're still exploring the scope of services and, trying to refine the needs of the downtown businesses and align them with the services offered by the firms.
Okay, great.
Question and or just general comment. I think that the governor's office might at some point be coming out with some guidelines in terms of Halloween. So I don't know when that would be a thing. Just in my conversations in terms of COVID response, it's been brought up a couple of times. So I just want to keep that in the loop.
Thanks, Mayor. To clarify, we're not planning an actual downtown. Again, our whole strategy right now, our economic recovery strategy is keeping people safe in order to stay open. And so we're not planning any large gatherings, anything that.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't think that you would. It's just something I wanted to plug in there, not someone.
Absolutely. Thank you. And then, we've had the ambassador program, that launched on August 20th. And it's been pretty successful and well received. And so we're looking to continue that on because it technically ends this weekend, which would be the last weekend of it. And we'd like to continue that program through the end of October. Again, it aligns with our economic recovery strategy with keeping people safe. And it really just provides a presence downtown in your face. Like, hey, we're here. If you need a mask, we have masks available. We have informational materials. As you may recall, there's a tent in the Ann Street Plaza. And so we're going to be requesting funds to expand and extend that program through the end of October in the amount of $4,000.
I have a couple of questions on this, Chair, if you are all right.
Yeah, please.
So when you talk about expanding, what do you mean? Do you mean expanding hours? Do you mean expanding locations, the scope?
Yeah, great question. So what I'm referring to is adding hours. Currently it's Thursday through Saturday. We want to do Wednesday to Saturday.
Okay.
And then extend it for another 7 weeks, basically.
Okay. Is there the possibility of extending hours a little bit later into the evening? Has that been a conversation yet?
Absolutely, yeah. We're trying to figure out, we're 4 weeks into it, trying to get.
I know it's a safety concern, but
but yeah, we definitely have had conversations about extending it to at least 10 p.m. in the evening. However, if we were to do that, the cost per hour is 14 hours. It wouldn't add up to much, but it would require just an additional request from us.
Yeah. How has the approach been so far in terms of like, because it's kind of the wait for people to come to you approach rather than the outward bound. And I mean, I can speak from personal experience to tell you, going out there and really being, assertive with, the fact that there is a mask rule and you should be wearing one, is sometimes very, well received and sometimes not. So I understand that that's, kind of a judgment call, but, has there been a conversation around, a change in that philosophy, or is this kind of where we're landing?
Currently, yeah, with the game plan would be to stick with the current approach of just being there as a resource. Again, safety is a major concern, but if there are ideas on how to address the safety concerns in order to have those ambassadors actually approach folks, definitely all ears.
I'm looking for creative solutions here. So like, if that means that, the city's expending a little bit of extra funds and we might have an officer down there, as somewhat of a protective measure. I know that there's been a conversation about, especially with the city manager's plan to expand and create a new sector of the police department that involves social workers and neighborhood resource officers. Those neighborhood resource officers obviously was kind of part of a conversation that, I and the deputy chief and George had, but I'm just trying to figure out how we can be a little bit more proactive about getting folks these masks, because I know that we're doing some extra signage and different things, but I'm still running into people that don't know that it's there, don't know that rule is there. And so, even if it's something like on that tent, there are, banners on the tent that say, you have to wear a mask in downtown. If you don't have one here, you can come grab one here. Like,
oh God, what is it?
Yeah, so these are great ideas, and I'm writing them down.
I'm just shooting things out there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that any of these will work or that staff can even implement them. Please tell me if I'm way off. I just, I want us to be more proactive on it.
At all. We can explore it. Definitely a banner, no problem. If we're able to get funding for it.
Bring me a pot.
We did
I'm
have
on the DDA.
frame signs saying masks are required right in front of the tent. We're currently placing new signage within, all the parking garages. Masks are required. Stencils are going in throughout the downtown. Yep. So we're definitely open to, enhancing the signage. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think council's very on board with that too. I mean, I'm only one member, and I won't speak on behalf of everybody, but very supportive of the order in general. And I think that, just based on the volume of people that we're seeing congregate in the downtown, especially at somewhat peak hours, I think we're going to get to the point where we're going to start to see lines again that are obviously, going to be dispersed. And there was a separate conversation with businesses about, having online apps to basically wait in line without actually waiting in line. And there's some creative solutions that are happening there, which are great. But as we move into the next month here, I think that we're going to see an influx of people down there, which is really, really great for our businesses. But the big thing with that is that, we can't do it wrong. We have to do it right, because unfortunately the people that are going to suffer the most are the people that are badly affected by this virus, or our businesses that might suffer because, we have to take actions again, or there's a public outcry on a situation. So I just don't want us to get to that point.
Yeah. We absolutely, if you're interested in exploring an additional tent and you were on the call this morning, MSU had ambassadors left over from their program, and maybe we could, since they're a little older, have them approach folks. I don't know what that would look like, but I'm just kind of brainstorming here. And also on that call, and I spoke to MSU after that call, they do have 3 individuals ready to provide community service who have violated some public health ordinances. And so currently having brainstorming with the team, we're definitely want to have them down as ambassadors as well, and maybe supplement some daytime hours, those hours that our ambassadors are not down there, and clean picnic tables that we're going to be placing throughout downtown.
Yeah, I thought that was a great idea. I don't know. I think it might have been you or somebody else that came up with it, but I thought that was really great.
Yeah, I was kind of half joking, and then here we are. So, but yeah, that it's a real thing, and it's happening.
So just if staff has extra ideas or anything, I think that I'm very happy to bring that up at a council discussion. I'm very happy to continue bringing it up in DDA discussions. I'm hoping that other members of the DDA as well are supportive of trying to do everything we can. So thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what I could do is go back to the drawing board as far as this budget. Currently, the request to extend and expand an ambassador program is at $4,000. And so I could rework some numbers and see what it would look like to add additional staff, maybe an officer down there, and approach the DDA at the next board meeting with that request.
Again,
Yeah,
okay. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And again, I will say this about 1,000 times. If staff feels that that's not going to be helpful, if folks feel like things are not going to actually work, and it might be an increased cost or something that might look good but not be effective, I'm 100% okay and open to that. Honestly, just looking for advice on how to get some more proactive use on this. So thanks.
Okay, and then the next item I wanted to discuss was signage. And we'd like to request $1,000 for additional signage. Specifically, we're working to install. We currently have the curbside pickup program in the Bailey parking lot. We're expanding that in the Valley Park. However, the signage that we're using is paper signage. It's getting kind of ruined by the weather, and so we'd like to install some permanent metal signage like the highway signage. And so in order to do that, we'd like to request an additional $1,000. That includes currently 7 curbside pickup signs. We're also looking for stencils and paint for all inside locations. We're going to be doing some stencil art and color coding curbside pickup locations throughout downtown. Currently, the color will be pink.
Okay.
Great.
All
I don't
right.
see any issues with that. Yeah.
All right. And, just during this discussion, I was thinking, $1,000, there may be some funds left over from that we could purchase a banner for the ambassador tent.
Okay.
Under that signage line. And then, those are going to be the immediate requests that we'll be making to the DDA. Are there any additional questions?
Yeah, Adam, I do. All that sounds fine. I agree with Mayor Stevens on a lot of those points. I just didn't hear in all of that. I don't think I heard anything about any actual business relief program. So I'm kind of curious if we are working on anything in that regard a little bit more specifically to be helping the businesses. I know that we did. I'm curious how maybe those surveys are doing. I mean, have we gotten anything back that would suggest that, we've kind of spent a lot of time now where we probably could have had open area dining and haven't, and we're kind of running out of time on that now, which is a little disheartening, but I'm just kind of curious what we can do through the fall to maybe keep people outside but keep people, happy and spending money?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the survey, since last time we spoke, we haven't received any additional surveys. And then as far as business relief, we just launched a business relief program where businesses can get up to $10,000 if they can retain low to moderate income, those with the income limits that HUD establishes, retain those employees. So we had that going, and then you're right as far as the open air. We're running out of time here. It's getting, we have 6 weeks, and we'd have to probably start taking it down. And so right now we're in planning phase. We're doing a lot of research on how to launch this in a very strategic, beneficial way come springtime. But in the meantime, you're absolutely right. We have to continue to find creative ways to get people outside to keep that revenue stream coming to the businesses. And so, with that said, we're placing picnic tables in public right-of-ways throughout the downtown. There's currently one in the 500 block. We're going to be placing them in the 400 block, 300 block, 200 block, and then in Valley Court as well. And so we're hoping that will help just a little bit in these next several weeks. And in the meantime, we're also planning on what we can do during the winter, to keep people coming downtown and shopping in the safest way possible. So we're exploring how we may be able to utilize our parking garages to do so. The parking garages would provide us with some protection from the elements, the weather, but still have that open air, right? That ventilation that we're looking for. And so the concept is, imagine winter market in some way, shape, or form in these garages.
Oh, that's cool.
Lights, at lack of a better word, micro sheds. I don't know if you've seen other cities, they've had on the streets, they have little sheds. Yeah. So winter market, parking garages, with those, we're hashing out the details on how to make that work. The main thing with that is the businesses would obviously have to buy into that and be willing to, move into those micro sheds and, offer their retail, their services in those garages. But I think it's a very creative concept, and I think it's definitely worth exploring more and seeing what we can do to implement. And if we
I know it sounds like it's really early on, but are there any estimated costs to that?
That's where we're at right now. I'm getting estimates. From what I can find in the contacts at the state, this has never been done before, and actually very, very interested in what we're doing here because they would want to model that and promote that to other cities because they think it's a very creative solution as well. And so
sorry, Chair, do you mind if I ask a question?
No, never mind.
Shall I be respectful? So do you imagine this to be like majority? This, by the way, this is really cool. I think just in concept, I'm excited about it. But do you imagine this to be mostly retail establishments that you'd be looking to do this, or this kind of be like, somewhat also, food as well, offering like limited menus of?
Great question. A retail hub and limited menu options from our downtown restaurant.
Great. Do you, if there's a possibility, if this is in the early stages, I know that survey went out and there hasn't been many responses, but if we do have the ability to send out a response to get feedback on a specific program like this, just to assess, like you said, and I don't necessarily use the phrase buy-in because I imagine that the buy-in would be more opportunity cost than actual cost for businesses. So, if they'd be willing to, participate in something like this, if they think this would be something helpful, just, I know that we did survey on kind of overall issues, but I'd be interested to see, if folks think that it would be helpful from the business community.
Yeah, another great point. So I definitely would like to put a survey out and get a feel for the interest, right? And more than likely will do so. I'm just very concerned about a low response rate again, right? And not having enough data really to make that informed decision, incomplete picture, if you will. But it's worth trying. We did just get 2 interns on board. And so they're going to be out there collecting the data that we've been collecting. And maybe we can throw this on their plate as well while they're out in the field and get answers right there in real time. But yeah, definitely a great point.
I mean, yeah, and if you need extra assistance, you know, from maybe a council standpoint, you know, I know Mayor Pro Tem Greg, you know, has a good relationship with a number of the different business owners, and obviously I have some personal connections, and I think a few people here, literally being business owners in the downtown, you know, do as well. So I'm sure that would be something that we would all be willing to participate in. Yeah, I just honestly I want to make sure that we're doing things that are helping the folks.
Right,
although in concept, I think that this sounds really cool, and an innovative way to help folks during the winter when you can't necessarily do things outside all the time. So,
you know, thinking is it could also get some folks that aren't familiar with our parking garages familiar with them, and maybe increase use down the road. That's a hope anyway. But Chair, if you don't mind if I ask a question to the group.
Go right ahead.
All right, and not to put anyone on the spot, but if there are any business owners on the call that have any initial gut reaction to that concept, again, I'm all ears. Let me know.
Is this, I'm sorry, I can't get the image. Is this going to be like Campus Martius in Detroit, or just a smaller outdoor market in a certain floor of a?
So those are the details we're hashing out. Will it be one level? Will it be multiple levels? Will it be multiple garages? Which levels would it be? There's a lot of moving parts, obviously with public safety. You know, how can we set this up? You know, if it was on the first level, could cars still come through? And the vision would be cars would not be able to come through on whatever level. So it's just a pedestrian zone.
Mm-hmm.
Don't have to worry about that issue. But yeah, imagine, you know, you're just on a level in the parking garage. There's these micro sheds scattered throughout with lights, Christmas lights. I hope some art, you know, just a very attractive, vibrant place that will attract people. You know, imagine if, you know, I park in the Grove Street garage, and since kind of exploring this concept, I'm always like, man, it'd be so nice if I got to that first level and there was a coffee shop down there. I just grab my coffee on it, you know, so things like that. But again, it provides enough space and it's semi-outdoors, so it provides that safety level as well. Does that answer your question, Christian?
So some of it's the businesses setting up, you know, pods or whatever, auxiliary spots. But that's not necessarily replacing the picnic tables that we had on Albert, or you would still have to-go opportunities to have picnic tables in the parking garages? Or would you still? That's a question.
I love that idea. Have the picnic tables in the garages?
If what we're worried about is the street and some of that, I mean, just creating more of a garden setting. I mean, I think Horrocks has done a nice job in their tent outside.
yeah,
I agree. It's that same kind of concept where you're like half inside, half outside. So that's what I'm visualizing. Yeah, absolutely. The picnic tables, I didn't even think about it, you know.
You could still you could still bring it to go and then take it to a table that's in the covered lot.
Absolutely, and it also helped us manage, you know, because there's an entryway and an exit way. It'd be a lot easier to manage it, and it'd be consolidated in one place. So, writing the picnic table idea down right now.
Would that fall under the governor's order, though, of having a group under one roof of more than 25 people, like if that were to happen on like one level of the garage, for example.
Yeah, that's a good
Those
point.
are the types of things that we gotta ensure we do the due diligence on and make sure we're in compliance with. Absolutely, we're not gonna violate any of the governor's orders.
Yeah, I don't know if
Sounds
this
cold.
would help that at all, but I guess you could still maybe set up times virtually or with tickets or something so that, you know, you're not getting bombarded with too many people at any given time, I guess.
Right.
I'm worried that the whatever costs associated might keep businesses away.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can look into any sort of corporate, like, you know, funding, treat this like an event. Maybe you can get sponsors. I don't know. But I do also agree with Mike that it does sound a little cold. It does sound a little, it would take a lot of effort to make it not seem a little kind of thrown together, I guess.
Right, and that's the thing. We don't want it to look thrown together. We want to put a lot of
Because I
thought.
mean, honestly, the picnic tables looked like a demilitarized zone this summer. I mean,
It looked like a construction zone. Yeah.
it was nice to have them, but it was not appealing.
Yeah.
I think it did. I don't think it drew enough of the people that it was put out there for, and I think that might have been one of the bigger reasons. Of course, you know, the outbreak that happened in East Lansing, like, certainly contributed to that, but I also do think it was just, I don't know, it's just hot and just a long stretch of metal picnic tables surrounded by, you know, construction is not necessarily appealing.
Yeah, no, to be fair, Chair, I understand exactly what you're getting at. And I think I understand Mr. Cummins' like perspective and somewhat of his vision, you know, as he was talking about like how you're walking in and like there'd be lights and, you know, maybe art and, you know, areas. I think this is obviously in the preliminary stages. But the one thing that I will say is I am always going to be encouraging of creative solutions in this. I don't think we have a roadmap for this. We don't know how the heck we can support. I mean, you know, obviously, you know, we do, you know, grant programs and, you know, there's direct support, there's, you know, allocations or unallocations, I will say, of fees, you know, and things like that. But, you know, what other ways can we help? So, you know, if we can, I think what you've heard from this group is there's a lot of moving pieces, and I think that it need to be done in a very specific way to get it right. And that would only be if the businesses were bought in. But, you know, if we can get some creative solutions, I'm down to hear them. So that's just my take.
And then I guess the last thing I wanted to discuss on this point is, have we done any research? I know we talked a little bit about like any sort of website like programming that we can do to kind of help out the businesses, you know, redoing our own website, creating, you know, promos, easier access to businesses, locations, phone numbers, things like that.
Yes, sir. So I should have mentioned that, and that's my bad. Part of the professional services that DMB approved the $10,000 for, that includes website design. So we've been having kind of maybe a database problem to solve, which we just solved. We actually we set up a platform in GIS in order for the interns to go out and plug in all this data into GIS, Geographic Information System, which will store all the data. We can do spatial analysis. We can understand where the best place would be to put open air dining in the future. You know, we've got this many retail establishments here, or this many restaurants here. So all that data that we're collecting will be used to help the businesses by promoting them through our website, our revamped website.
Okay. Does anybody else have any comments or questions? All All right. Well, thank you for all that, Adam. It's very much appreciated. Sounds like you're doing a lot of work, and let us know how we can help.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Then we will move on to item 4 on our agenda, the committee member comments discussion. Do any of the committee members have anything that is on their mind today?
Many things, but you don't need to hear them.
Yeah, are you sure? All right. Well, seeing none, I am going to move on to number 5, which is the adjournment. So thank you guys for this this brief meeting. Like Adam, like I said, if there's anything that we can do, I would love to sit in on some of those meetings regarding the website and stuff. And I'm sure Kristen, I'll volunteer her to keep on helping too. So let us know if there's anything we can do.
I'll take you up on that. 100%. Need all the help we can get.
All right. Well, I don't think we actually need to motion to adjourn. So I think we are just going to adjourn. So.
Have a good one, guys.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good day.
You as well.